We're down to our final 3 teams here in Europe. Now we're going to have the battle of the best so far in this cup, at least. Diabolus against Method Black. The 2 rogue mages that made it to the top, though. Warwick actually came in for Diabolus on Friday. He was a part of their 3-1 victory over Change My Mind. It'll be very interesting to see if they do try him into Method Black, but I think there's a good chance also we just see the mirrors coming out.
Yeah, I think we're just going to be seeing Rogue Mage Druid mirrors all the way, and I mean, these guys have been kind of tying a little bit in terms of score last times they faced, and we are going to see a Rogue Mage Druid full-on mirror here, and I don't see any significant talent differences either, so it's going to be pure skill RMD mirror between Method Black and Diabolus. Let's see who takes it.
Yep, we will have to see who takes it out of these 2 teams. In the Grand Arena, these guys have been so close the last few times they've played. I think last weekend it was a 3-0 followed by a 4-0, so it was 4-3 in favor of Method Black. The weekend before, also 4-3 in favor of Method Black. It's been neck and neck. Let's see who comes out on top in this first game of the series. In the Grand Arena, the blind pick.
Yeah, we'll have to see what these teams decide to do. There has been sort of an evolution in the Rogue Mage Druid mirrors. Sometimes teams have been going after the Rogue, sometimes they've been going after the Mages to try to slow things down. Sometimes we see swaps to the Restoration Druids. Right now, it looks like Method Black, they're going to be going after Asgarath. Can they get the damage rolling? Nixie shuts it down. Sheep Shot on Waz. Growth Silence on Raikou. Asgarath might be able to hold on. He doesn't even trade out the Bark Skin, and this is a significant difference. When Method Black tried this strategy against Change My Mind on the Midpoike, he was trinketing and using Bark Skin every game. But Diabolus, they managed to shut that down quite easily. Now Asgarath has his blind, or he has his trinket for the blind. As you can see, now Diabolus are looking to reverse the pressure. Sap on Chaz, Polymorph on Waz. Nice triple crowd control. Raikou gets locked out. This could easily be the first ice block. Smoke Bomb drops out also. Commanding lead here for Diabolus.
Yeah, big push by Diabolus. Huge hold by Asgarath in terms of defense there. Confidently not trading Skyer's Medallion on blind or Barkskin while being stunned, and then they just swung huge amounts of momentum towards Raikou with beautiful cross crowd control. Perhaps this is the day, perhaps this is the tournament where Method Black will be dethroned. Alec down at 50%, but with Waz behind the pillar looking for a reset, he's not going to be in too much trouble. Beautiful Cyclone on Raikou at low health, denying some heals. Another one to follow up, giving time for Diabolus to push forward and get crowd control on Chaz. Asgarath jumps in, bashing him up. However, Iron Bark was activated prior to this crowd control chain. Will it be enough is now the question. Chaz is not feeling confident with it alone, so he's going to use his Gladiator's Medallion to break the crowd control chain.
Yeah, and Nixie does have his blind, as you can see there on the UI, and he could easily just blind up Chaz, go for a full stab after that, or a Ring of Frost, and then maybe secure another one of Raikou's Ice Block. I want to see them go for a play like this in the near future before Chaz's Iron Bar comes back up. There's a Kidney Shot, and they drop a Vortex, I believe, with that. There's the full blind as well onto Chaz. A lot of damage coming out here onto Raikou. He's in big trouble, but they drop the chain. No follow-up there. Waz doing a good job with Raikou there, making sure that they can't land that follow-up CC, and instead they reverse it here. Alec in big trouble, gonna respect that crowd control and immediately go into his Ice Block on high HP. So Method Black tying up the Mage Race 1 apiece.
Yep, they are tying it up. Both teams kind of stable right now, and this is what we expect to see when Diabolus and Method Black do play against each other. 2 teams that really are so closely matched. Ironbark onto Raikou as he's taking a fair bit of damage. No crowd control for either healer just yet, though. Chaz doesn't have a trinket, so maybe if Asgarath can get aggressive, maybe he can get something done for his team. It's a beautiful low Cyclone, denying the remainder of that Ironbark, but Waz denies. Beautiful cheap shot. Now a counterspell to deny any polymorph. Both these teams just going kind of even in these trades. No one seems to be able to land crowd control, though I think Asgarath has the advantage here. No counterspell available for Raikou. Should be able to get Cyclone maybe on Chaz, but Waz is just being so annoying. Able to deny a sheep snuck by Alec. Very nicely played. Maybe they can get some pressure on Raikou.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Where's the damage? Right now, Chaz and a Polymorph into a Cyclone. Raikou's still getting low. Ice Barrier gonna soak up a lot of that damage. He's got the Cold Snap, still holding on to it. If they can force out the Ice Block, Raikou's gonna be behind. And look at Alec, he's holding on to his Cold Snap as well. I really don't get it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Raikou right now, he's about 50% health. Chaz with his Iron Bark should be able to keep him alive. Alec in a Kidney Shot. Method Black looking to reverse the pressure. Big flurry combo by Raikou. Pops his Icy Veins. Does he have enough damage to take Alec down? Right now, Asgarath trades out his Iron Bark. And both Druids sort of mirroring each other, and I feel like both these mages are going to be able to hold on. for a little bit longer.
All right, let's see if Method Black can swing it back in their favor. Raikou likely having to use that cold snap. He tries to play it greedy by holding on to it, and he may be able to get away with it if he can wait another 46 seconds. But, of course, Diabolus are going to try and take that race into their own hands. Temporal Shield absorbing a huge amount of damage, but not healing too much back. Raikou's still very low. Gladiator Safeguard may not be enough. Big damage from Diabolus here in game number 1, potentially closing it out. Raikou has to cold snap and ice block, and now we'll have likely none left for the rest of the game. The only thing, though, going to Method Black's favor is that Asgarath is out of mana, and this has happened in the past, where Diabolus are in the driver's seat in terms of crowd control, but then get overwhelmed because Asgarath's mana is so much lower than Chaz's.
Yeah, and that is the big win condition here for Method Black. I expect to see defensive blinds coming out of Waz very shortly when that cooldown rotates up over onto Nixie. Whenever they have pressure, whenever the Vendetta gets committed, then I gotta call Raikou out here. I mean, just cold snap as soon as
everyone does it. I don't get it. I'm literally tweeting at them all right now.
Yeah, just literally use your cold snap as soon as you press the first ice block, because now instead of having both ice blocks like he would, well, he would have used one and still had one more rotating up about this time. He has no more ice blocks for 4 minutes, and if Diabolus knows about that, likely because they're tracking the cooldown, they can just take Raikou down here. Nixie's gonna commit the smoke bomb. Raikou using his every man for himself. They are both on a 3-minute cooldown, so nicely traded there by Raikou. Nixie was using his Vendetta there as well, and now Waz has his blind. I'm interested to see if he's going to go for an Asgarath blind or if he's going to go ahead and use that over onto Nixie. Actually, don't mind him using it on Asgarath now that he trinketed out of a polymorph, and that crowd control chain that he just did with that bash, he's going to secure them Alex ice block here as well. So both mages block less, and Waz has his blind and his Vendetta. I think that Method Black are just going to blind Asgarath and try to secure the win.
Yeah, they definitely have the advantage here. There is the blind, no trinket, mana disadvantage. Diabolus losing on all fronts right now. Triple crowd control perfectly executed by Method Black as they look to secure, though the temporal shield does come through. Doesn't look like there's a purge. This is going to be a big temporal if it does end up healing. It looks like it was purged though. Alec falls, and Method Black in game 1 are able to clear through, but I think that cold snap discussion is a very interesting one. I actually did talk to Alec a little bit about it yesterday, and he said the reason he thinks mages are doing it is because cold snap's a 6-minute cooldown, whereas blocks a 5-minute cooldown, so theoretically you can min-max it. 4 and 5, sorry. So you theoretically can min-max it, but even he admitted it's super risky. You know, you're good doing it for the double barrier plus that 1-minute difference. If you end up cold snapping, it's a 4-minute difference, so it definitely doesn't always pay off.
The amount of times I've seen mages wait for like 1 minute left on their ice block and then cold snap, and then basically add another 4 minutes onto their cold snap for no reason. It just happens over and over. The risk makes no sense at all.
It happens
to both mages. That's why we didn't see a third ice block. Literally, the reason why we didn't see a third ice block from both of them. So, to me, it makes no sense at all. And I mean, I'm throwing some heavy criticism to all these mages consistently doing this. I feel like it's really bad, just straight up. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yep, I definitely agree. I mean, I don't mind if you hold on to the cold snap for, 20 seconds or so after you've used the ice block, just to try to get a double nova or a double ice barrier before you use it. But holding on to it for several minutes at a time, I mean, look at Raikou right now. He should have one ice block right now in this scenario. Alec as well. I'm not sure how long he waited before he cold snapped, but it definitely was a minute or two as well. So I'm not sure if he would have had another ice block in this case when he did go down, but still, I feel like it's a very risky play to make, like you mentioned, and the risk does just not outweigh the reward of just playing consistently. And this kill opportunity here, of course, for Method Black was at the back of Chaz and Raikou's beautiful crowd control a little bit earlier on, where they were able to get that bash when Alec was already low, secure the full polymorph, and Asgarath had to trinket out of that one, wait for the diminishing returns, and then just go for the blind play. And I think it's interesting to see as well how Waz adapts in that scenario. They have the mana lead, they're down in the block race. That means Waz wants to use his blind onto Nixie. He's playing Relentless, so he can get that blind sap on his Vendetta and just try to win on mana. And when he realizes, hey, we have an opening now, they don't have ice blocks either, he's going to immediately swap that strategy and go for the offensive blind on the healer. So nicely done here by Method Black.
Yeah, really nice plays. And Method Black have seemingly got better and better. I think they won the grand finals. Was it 4-0 or 4-1? I believe it was 4-0 last week, so it was really, really dominant toward the end of that one. Here, once again, the game was pretty even for a while, but it just seems like Method Black find ways of edging ahead. And more importantly, Chaz's mana was actually really good in this game, and that was a criticism we've had of him in the past, maybe overhealing a little bit much.
Yeah, but I mean, if he was able to, I'm not sure if he actually was able to sneak away for a drink in that game, but just being conservative with his mana, maybe, slowing down on the Cyclones a little bit. I feel like Cyclone is one of those things. It's not that expensive on mana, but I don't know. It's a gamble if you're using a little bit too much mana, you can fall behind. But at the same time, it can win you the game. So it is one of those things you have to balance quite well. And I feel like Chaz has been doing a good job. And the fact that he is ahead on mana definitely plays into their favor. Yeah,
I was talking to Fried Kitty, and he said basically that he loved the last series because he's like, oh, thank goodness I'm not playing Rogue Mage Mirrors. And I think the Rogue Mage Mirrors for these mages are super intense, right? There's so many things you're tracking. Like, you don't want to get low Cyclone by the enemy Druid. You want to make sure you're denying the correct CC. Is it Cyclone? Is it Ring of Frost? Is it Sheep? There's so many things. And you're kiting the Rogue the entire time, right? Plus trying to do damage. There's such a difficult kind of range of things, and that goes for all three players on both teams, right? So it is super stressful, but that's also why we love watching them. The Rogue Mage Mirrors are kind of one of the pinnacle matchups that we've seen throughout the expansions when it comes to just determining the skill of these players.
The way you described that was almost like the Mage Tower challenges back in Legion, where the mage was to kite the,
exactly.
the guy that's chasing him while trying to make sure that he's landing interrupts on important spells. Is kind of a stressful situation.
That was Frost, right? It was the Frost Mage one? Yeah.
Microwaving your pet into little void zones.
yeah. That was good.
I love that challenge.
Yeah,
I think these mages... Was it Fried Kitty?
Mages are probably pretty good at that.
Was Fried Kitty able to do that with his water? Was it Fried Kitty who was using his water alley for the whole game? I feel like it's actually, we've seen that a couple times, that I'm not actually sure which mages. Some mages will just forget to start attacking with their pet. Sometimes that's so that they can have it for the pet freeze immediately, but in most cases, it's a significant amount of your damage. You don't want your water elemental not adding extra damage per second to the fight. Diabolus had a lead in game one, but I've seen that situation time and time again, whereas Method Black just play it slow and steady and then overwhelm Diabolus later on if they can't kill them soon. And now Method Black look to do the same on Tiger's Peak.
Yep, Tiger's Peak, just one of those, no one is really favored maps, just a medium-sized map here. Both mages gonna go out, start spamming Frostbolt on top of each other so that they can start getting the opener here, but Raikou going for a polymorph. As soon as he's stacked up all of his icicles, they're gonna go and do an attempt onto Asgarath. Nixie, though, since he was the rogue who opened last, he's gonna be able to make sure that Raikou doesn't get too much damage off and shut down Waz as well in this situation, but as Asgarath taking a lot of damage here, has to use his Iron Bark in this situation, and he can't really dispel everybody when he is afraid of getting stunned like that, when he's behind on healing. So a pretty decent opener for Method Black, but ultimately nothing of big importance here is going to be forced. Waz used his Vanish offensively there as well. Raikou now with the Icy Veins is going to look to set up a Ring of Frost. He lands it. Nixian's in stealth, gets the kidney shot onto Raikou, so that's going to be shutting down a lot of that follow-up CC. Chaz now going for the Cyclone, and Alec actually taking a lot of damage here, overlapping his Ice Block with the Gladiator Safeguard. I don't think I like that, actually. I think he could have held on to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly interesting. He had to use the Ice Block early on. Now we see Sheeps continue on Asgarath. There actually could still be danger for Alec as the game continues here. He's kiting away from Waz. We talked about that being one of the big things that the mages are doing. First the Dispel on the Sheep, then he Novas Waz. Waz is able to break out of that. He has a lot of uptime in this situation, and he does use the Cold Snap. Whoop-de-doo, I see Benruki's already happy to see that. Alec trading that one out early here, meaning that he would have access to the third Ice Block if it does come down to that. In this situation, though, another blind onto Asgarath, big damage. Method Black are just taking a commanding lead here.
Yeah, Ice Barrow Temporal Shield might keep Alec alive with the Iron Bark. I mean, surely Alec should survive this. Although the Temporal Shield healing is not big, this could be the Ice Block. That was Trinket Iron Bark from Asgarath. And they got the Ice Block. Method Black, they had so much pressure, so much crowd control. They got basically everything from Diabolus. And now at this point, Alec, there's not too much to work with. The crowd control is never ending. Alec could easily fall. Raikou with massive damage. Ice Barrier might keep him alive, but that Cyclone from Chaz is going to reset the diminishing returns. One more crowd control chain from Method Black. There's the kidney shot onto Asgarath. Alec still just taking heavy damage from Raikou, who's looking to close out the game, but Alec with the defensive counterspell onto the Frostbolt. Full sap comes in from Waz. Alec, at this point, what can you really do? I mean, I feel like it's... Okay, I was going to say, if he managed to hold on, that would have been a miracle. That push from Method Black, that crowd control chain, that was a 45-second crowd control chain. They got everything. They got Trinket, Iron Bark, Temporal Shield, Ice Barrier, Ice Block, and they still killed through it.
Yeah, and suddenly it's looking like Method Black have got some command in this mirror.
Yeah, it looked like Method Black were definitely ahead in that one. Looked like they were a little bit better that game, but like you mentioned, they got the Ice Block and they landed a Cyclone on Asgrath at the same time, so he can be healing Alec in that Cyclone. You can see it here. Asgrath trinkets out of a full blind, gets bashed on his trinket, full polymorph secured. Alec has to use his Ice Block, re-polymorph secured by Raikou, and then Chaz gets one clone, and Alex hits the full duration. Chaz gets another clone as his Ice Block ends, and then you can see that retiming as well from Chaz, doesn't leave a single global, and then now he cyclones Alec, which means that he obviously can't be healed, and then Waz looks for the kidney shot. He's waiting for the bash TR to fade, trinkets out of a bash that Asgrath did, and there's a full bash. Now Nixie getting cycloned, and then Waz sapping out of his own kidney shot. Nixie gets, actually doesn't get recycloned, and Raikou this whole time is just getting damage off. He gets counterspell, he gets kidney shot, but with this amount of crowd control from the kidney shot and the sap, that means that the Cyclone DR is back again, so they can cyclone Asgrath again, and you know, Asgrath had about a minute left on his trinket there, and he got CC'd on his trinket. So he trinketed and then got immediately bashed. And then when the game was over, it was about a minute left on his trinket. So he got CC'd for about a minute straight there. So Method Black definitely ready for LAN season, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy as a European to see Method Black on fighting form, toying with their food a little bit as they go 2-0 up in the series and look to advance to our grand finals. It's 2-0 currently to Method Black. They've been looking really good here in this series. I'm actually really curious. You know, Diabolus, they changed my mind yesterday or on Friday with the Warlock. Maybe in the lower bracket they will bring out Warwick once again, because these mirrors so far, either Diabolus is having a bad day or Method Black is looking absolutely incredible. Certainly the outcome is that Method Black looks insane as they are one game away from the grand final.
Yeah, these games are looking insanely good for Method Black. That last game in particular, really clinical crowd control coming in. I mean, they did just such a good job with the burst damage, making sure Alec really was locked down. We'll have to see if Diabolus can battle it back here in game number 3 on Astromaine's Fall. Right now, both mages just exchanging Frostbolts, building Icicles and procs in the midfield. Asgrath taking a huge hit. Raikou trying to throw out a little bit of damage there, but unfortunately Waz not able to connect as he's sprinting across the map. You can see Asgrath, he knows exactly what's going on right now. I feel like Method Black, they televised that swap just a little bit too much, but we'll see. Maybe they can still try to find some cooldowns, but with the positioning of Asgrath, I just feel like that attempt was wasted.
Yeah, swap opportunity lost there for Method Black on match point. Looking solid though. Diabolus, they're constantly being pushed back. Ironbark Temporal in one exchange, cycloned by Chaz, denying both the recovery of the Temporal and the damage reduction of the Ironbark, setting up Method Black to switch crowd control to Asgarath rapidly. Chaz jumps in, Alex in trouble. 2 members of his team in crowd control, and he is all alone in the middle of the map with the Ursul's Vortex pinning him there. Will he be able to escape while Asgrath sits through this crowd control without ice blocking is the question. Asgrath comes out, clutches in a Swiftmend, goes for an Innervate Overgrowth. Unlikely that we see the Kleptomania there on the Overgrowth. Usually the mages are saving it for the Gladiator's Safeguard. A much more important cooldown to remove when forcing a cooldown like Ice Block, so Alec is going to easily recover. Asgrath exchanging his Gladiator's Medallion equally there. Chaz counterspelled into a bash. Good counter attack so far from Diabolus.
Yeah, and look at Waz immediately sheep-shotting Alec on that attack, then gets a sheep-shot onto Asgarath, and then Raikou instead reversing the pressure. Chaz cyclones up Nixie. Alec 1 versus 3. Vendetta is rolling. Re-polymorph. Chaz, if he gets the cyclone here, which he will, then this is for sure an ice block here from Alec. There's no way around it. Alec, is he actually gonna go for the greed? No, there it is. Ice block forced for Method Black, and they're looking just as strong in this game as in the next game. Asgrath doesn't have his trinket. Alec, you down 1 ice block right now, but it's Diabolus' turn to attack here. Alec gets the Frost Nova onto Waz. Waz getting cloned up. Now Asgrath's gonna look for the bash onto Chaz. Doesn't seem to be able to find it, and Waz is gonna be out of crowd control now. Nixie, on the flip side, if he gets polymorphed, Method Black can start initiating initiating that big crowd control here. Nixie actually getting a vanish out of that Nova to avoid that situation. Waz though with the smoke bomb, Chaz looking for the bash, but Nixie's already there to shut down this attack. Beautifully done here by Nixie. Alec going for the Ring of Frost, doesn't manage to get it here, and fortunately for him, the stun faded before he could get that one off. Full Cyclone on the Chaz now, and Alec doesn't have, he's gonna try to time a Poly out of it, but Chaz is in form, so Hibernate and Poly casted at the same time. That's gonna be a nice block from Raikou. Nicely done here by Diabolus to tie up the score. Beautiful stuff there.
Yeah, the safeguard was really big, but they were able to crunch through it. Very nicely done by Diabolus, trying to find their way back into the series here. Of course, the first 2 games going in favor of Method Black, and more convincingly so as the games went on. And of course, game 2 much better than game 1. But in game 3, Diabolus are biting back. They've got good crowd control. They forced a nice block from Raikou, though they are the ones playing defensive right now. Asgraf still behind on mana, still struggling to top off his mage. Now we see crowd control coming in. It's the Ring of Frost over onto Chaz. Cross crowd control secured with that Cyclone. Very nice plays once again. Were they able to purge the Temporal Shield? We'll find out in just a second here. Is it going to bounce back Raikou? Looks like it does, but only just a little bit. Chaz out of crowd control with that Iron Buck. Should be able to stabilize though. But once again, Asgraf isn't getting crowd control unless they can get Vanish off the sap. They went for it. Waz couldn't find the play, and it looks like Diabolus should stay in the lead.
Yeah, they're looking good right now. Raikou does have these Icy Veins rolling. Alec caught in a Cyclone. Nicely done by Chaz. If they can set anything up on Asgrath, it's going to be looking good. We'll have to see what Method Black can get done. Alec is taking massive damage. Ironbark forced to be traded out. He's got his Temporal Shield as well, but he's holding on to it. I think it's a smart play. He can use it after the Ironbark. Smoke Bomb gets dropped down. Nixie and Alec looking to reverse the pressure. As you can see, Asgrath moves forward. He lands the full Cyclone on Chaz. Raikou, this could easily be his second Ice Walk. He gets interrupted on Arcane. That means no Temporal Shield, but it looks like Chaz has the healing to keep him alive. Blind now, rolling from Waz onto Asgrath as he lands a kitty shot on Alec. Method Black trying to get pressure rolling on Alec, but he's been doing a good job kiting so far. This has been a really back and forth game.
Alec cycloned at low health here. Dangerous moment for Diabolus. This could be an opportunity for Method Black to net themselves the second ice block. Waz is going to set it up. Raikou looks for follow-up, but he's in balance for him. They can't land the poly. He shadow melds the Cyclone. Re-stealths to avoid the chain. Beautiful defense from Asgarath to avoid that double crowd control attempt from Method Black. Now with Ironbark active, unlikely we see Alec in too much trouble as he should be making his recovery. Waz cycloned away for a moment, but now immediately back in the fight. Chaz in a bash. Asgrath gets a Cyclone secured there. Waz is in a polymorph. Raikou is isolated. They're racing the Temporal. It's going to go off. But now a full Ring of Frost is likely going to be the second ice block of Raikou. Overlapped with the Gladiator Safeguard, although he's probably worried about it getting spell stolen. I think it is still more important to maybe block higher than the Gladiator Safeguard if you know that you're absolutely going to have to, because now he doesn't have that as an option or an out later on. And this is the first time that Diabolus have been in the lead for most of this series. Let's see if they can keep it.
Yeah, Diabolus definitely looking good in this situation. Asgrath, though, a little bit lower on mana. This could be a mana game here if Method Black decides to start turtling it out. Waz getting Cyclone, Chaz gets interrupted there, but he does have a nice Ironbark here onto Raikou. He has to be a little bit careful, though. If Asgrath can reach him and connect a stun into another CC chain, that could just be lights out here for Method Black. And Asgrath using his own Ironbark here. A lot of damage onto Alec, actually. Raikou is dealing devastation here with Waz. Chaz is going to look for a Cyclone onto Nixie, I do believe. No, he's just going to go for the Moonfire to keep him in combat. Raikou with the Polymorph. Asgrath looking for the bash. Chaz now playing Ring Around the Rosie around that pillar. Chaz gets bashed first. Full Ring of Frost secured. This is it. Maledicts connect. Raikou in so much trouble here. Nixie in the defensive blind. Waz kidney shotting Alec, trying to stop Asgrath there with that Cyclone, and miraculously Raikou survives at the back of Waz. This is why we gave him the MVP. This guy can just 1 versus 3 sometimes, and this is one of those scenarios. And now Asgrath is out of mana. Defensive blind once again from Waz, saving the day, and Method Black are looking to win this game too.
Yeah, that was such a nice play. Honestly, the entire team coming together. Chaz was in crowd control for a long time. Raikou even counterspelled, I believe, the Star Surge from Asgrath. So really min-maxing to keep him alive in that situation. Now they have the lead, and this is the sign of a top-tier team. You know, they can play when they're ahead, but they can also play when they're behind. Raikou, though, once again in trouble. Maybe Caster's Curse here coming in. Cheap shot into the Cyclone. They might still be able to win this one. Nixie, once again, he's being kited. Ray of Frost channeled out. How how's Raikou going to keep himself alive? DR Bash, Temporal Shield, is it going to be enough? Chaz has the Iron Bark, he trades it out, but it might be too late. Maldix connects, and Raikou
No way.
He's still alive in this
and
game.
Look at Alec. They're actually reversing it on Alec. Boss trying to take him down. Asgrath, he trades out the Iron Bark. Both mages in a lot of trouble here, but it's still Raikou who is far behind. However, Alec actually has another ice block, so this puts him in a really good spot. Raikou's still in so much trouble. Full kidney shot lands with an interrupt onto Chaz. Smoke bomb drops out. Nixie looking to close out the game, but Raikou getting out of the smoke bomb for a second. Buys Chaz a moment to heal him up. Good defensive plays here from Method Black, but that Cyclone from Asgrath could be what they need to close out the game. Chaz line of sights the incoming Cyclone. Nicely done. Good positioning. Now Watts looking to strike back. Gladiator's Maledict flies in from Raikou. Alec, this could be his third ice block.
Huge recovery heal there by Chaz. Alec now on the back foot. Diabolus playing a bit slow here as far as trading the Iron Bark. Now very low, and it could be ice block on top of it. Could be a mistake by Diabolus, and they could actually put a lead for cooldowns for Method Black. Cold Snap's available. Ice Block's coming up in 56 seconds. It's not looking too bad for Method Black. Alec is forced into his second and likely final Ice Block. Asgrath has absolutely 0 mana remaining. Raikou at any moment can Cold Snap for his. That's a significant advantage. Nixie could be a playmaker here. He's got Vendetta and Blind available. He's going to want to pull the trigger on those as soon as possible. Maybe they're just looking to overwhelm Raikou with damage.
Chaz.
Nixie trying to stay on target, but Chaz is drinking. I don't think he got too much mana. Second Ice Block going to be forced for a sliver of mana, which is, I suppose, better than 0. Asgarath is now sitting down. Does anyone see him? I think he's going to get almost full mana. Blizzard hits him, but now he's actually slightly ahead of Chaz. Alec stunned up, but he pre-temporals along with Iron Bark. I think it's going to be more than enough for Alec to stay alive. Now Method Black have to respond similarly in their defense, and then they will have the cooldown advantage for the final push.
Yeah, and this is the ice events from Alex, so they have an offensive CD push here ahead of Method Black, and the defensive blind gotta come out from Waz again, I think, because Nixie, if he gets enough uptime here, it is gonna be lights out. Method Black in big trouble here. Raikou just blinked. He's gonna soak up a lot of damage from this Frozen Orb. He does have his second Shimmer there, combines it with the Polymorph onto Nixie, and if they can get some kind of CC here on the Nixie, that's going to be big for Method Black. But right now, Waz looking to close, gets the kidney shot onto Alec. Chaz connects the bash onto Asgrath. Full sheep here onto Asgrath, but the defensive blind from on Nixie means that Asgrath can actually trinket out of that CC chain without being punished. Now full blind onto Chaz. Surely Raikou's going to go down here.
Yeah, you'd certainly think so, but I've seen miracles before, and they normally seem to be in favor of Method Black. Safeguard's a good start to that miracle, but with the Ray of Frost channeling, the Maldix crashing in, Raikou will fall, and Diabolus put a point on the board in the mirror. Very nicely played. They were playing from behind in terms of mana for quite a bit of that game, but they played the long game out, and it does feel like the longer the game goes on,
cross kill.
the better it could
They did
be.
it!
They actually do get the cross kill so
my
late.
goodness gracious. It's
I
gonna be
really can't believe that.
Chaz and Waz versus Nixie and Asgrath in a 2v2 Rogue Druid mirror matchup. 35% dampening. This is pretty standard for a 2v2 match, and this is going to be really interesting. I mean, at this point, Method Black, they're on match point. If they can win this 2v2, they will win the series, and it's up to Asgrath and Nixie if they want to keep their team in this. This is going to be really interesting here, Sid.
You got to take into consideration that both druids are out of mana and resurrections are an option. So both teams need to be aware of that, as mana is going to be an important resource to recover to continue healing this fight. But if one team's drinking while the other team is rezzing and they can't stop it, then the res is going to basically automatically secure victory.
Oh, they got the sap.
Chaz gets sapped by Nixie. Waz isn't in stealth. Nixie's making his way over. He's going to stun him up. Waz going to activate Feint right away and recover while Chaz sits through that crowd control, though the Gladiator's Maledict is already absorbing a huge amount of healing on Waz. Chaz dispels him, but Nixie has momentum. Waz is trying to counterattack. Remember, dampening is at 40% already. Asgrath in a Cyclone. Method Black trying to force evasion with this push, but it's still Vendetta for Nixie. A bit surprising to see Nixie on the back foot while his Vendetta is active. Nixie cycloned on his evasion. Waz sets up the Shadow Step kick on Asgrath for potential future crowd control. Waz is in complete control at the moment, which is a bit surprising considering Nixie had the initial crowd control.
Yeah, but he did pre-feint that first kidney. He did have the shadow sight there, so Waz did a good job deflecting that situation, and Chaz did get a drink here, so Mana's going to be about tied up here between Asgrath and Chaz because of that play and because of that drink that he had to essentially stabilize Waz. Now Waz, he's not going to have his Vendetta either. Nixie's
nice sap.
roll up a little bit before, and Nixie gets a beautiful sap here. Asgrath looking to
that
get the
shadow
back
step was beautiful.
Nice shadow step there onto Asgrath as he gets kidneyed, but Asgrath does get the Cyclone. Now Nixie in a kidney shot. Waz looking to make the difference. Chaz now getting a full Cyclone onto Asgrath himself here, and either one of these rogues could fall, but right now it's looking like Nixie.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of why these are the players we're talking for MVP in Europe. Absolutely incredible plays, and as soon as you see one, like a sap, you see a pre-step on the kidney from Waz, just going match for match. These guys are absolutely insane on the rogues, and I mean, Waz, if he can pull this off, it would effectively be a 2 versus 3. He was able to kill Alec about 30 seconds after Raikou died. Looks like he does have a slight lead in this one. Mana for both druids completely out. 50% dampening. Evasion from Waz forced out though. Nixie definitely is pretty even in this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Waz, he's got his Cloak of Shadows, he's got his Vanish, and Nixie doesn't have anything. He's in a kidney shot with full crowd control on Asgarath. There's the Smoke Bomb. Waz moving forward, gets the Shadow Step Garrote on Asgarath. Nixie getting low. Actually, Chaz sitting down for a drink. If he can recover his mana, with Waz still having Cloak of Shadows, this is going to put Method Black in a really good lead, but unfortunately, pressure forces him to stay ahead in the match. He wants to continue to allow Waz to get the damage rolling. Nixie just so far behind at 53% dampening, and Asgarath completely out of mana. I don't know if he's ever going to be able to recover.
All right, let's see if they can manage to pull off a drink. Waz is currently blinded. Nixie is just trying to stay alive, sapping Waz. Asgarath, how much did you get here? Chaz is trying to stop him. He's going to crowd control him with a bash, likely into a Cyclone. Then Nixie could be in trouble if Waz has Shadow Step kidney shot. Waz can't connect right now, mounting up to go across the map. Nixie Shadow Steps back. Asgarath didn't get any mana. Unfortunate there for Diabolus. Nixie could now be in a lot of trouble. Vendetta available for both rogues. Evasion for Nixie, so he'll have a cooldown to answer. Waz doesn't have that. Chaz actually getting swapped to. Nixie trying to end this game short. Stunning him up and bursting him down, but now retreating away. Nixie getting ready for this. Both rogues are, at this point, anticipating the vendettas of each other. Nixie's just trying to keep momentum on Chaz. Waz isn't pressuring Asgarath whatsoever, and perhaps going after the Druid is the correct target. Waz is going to buy time for Chaz to get away with blind. Chaz is then going to stop Asgarath from drinking. Hibernate, cheeky Hibernate. Chaz dodges it. Waz saps Nixie out of blind. Waz is trying to pause the game and give time for Chaz. And now Nixie gets a re-stealth out of the sap, but Chaz will regenerate mana, at least a little bit more than Asgarath in this position as both teams continue setting up the best situation possible, but eventually dampening will make healing 0, and at that point...
How high are we going?
I feel like this actually could be a 100% damp game if they keep playing this way.
I love this close-up.
I actually really didn't like that Chaz moonfired Asgarath there and kind of walked towards his pillar. I think when Nixie was in that sap, he should have went to where Asgarath is right now and started casting a res, because that way Waz could have actually sapped Asgarath and then kidney shot Nix as he gets that sap and potentially set up for the res. But none of these teams so far playing around the res, and I think at this point it's too late in the game to do so. I think at this point it's just a healer race. Whatever healer gets punished first is probably going to go down here. Waz gets sheep shot, which means Nixie's saving his kidney shot for Chaz. A lot of pressure now going to come into Chaz, and Waz, he's looking to spread out his damage here onto both outranges that Cyclone here. Nicely done by Waz. Going to make sure that he doesn't get crowd controlled here. That 67% dampening at just a second in crowd control could be what decides the game. Asgarath early Iron Bark has to use all of his mana essentially to try to stabilize Nixie in this situation, and now Nixie in a Cyclone, and Chaz looking to get that re-step, looking to get away. It's all about surviving at this point in the game for Chaz and for Asgarath.
Yeah, I mean, it's so close to cool. 70% dampening, both healers low on mana. I think the min-maxing of denying drinks is probably over. Both rogues would love to connect to the rest of Druids, but they're playing very intelligently on both sides. Nixie is hungriest for it, as Asgarath is sitting down, maybe looking for a drink. I think Waz has used this distract here, so this is a good opportunity for Asgarath to drink if he chooses. It's a little bit scary, though. Nixie, I think he might have used his every man for himself there, his human ratio, so that means Vendetta for Waz is definitely definitely a looming possibility. Asgraf is taking a small lead in terms of mana. The blind onto Waz. I really like this play. We've talked about it. Crowd control the road. Go after the healer. Nixie and Asgraf have a huge lead here.
Yeah, Nixie doing an absolute stellar job. The blind sap on Waz. Nixie just training down Chaz, and at 73% dampening. Chaz is never going to recover in the situation. Asgraf actually gets caught into a bash. Chaz just going for the offensive play. Waz chasing down Nixie. If he can take down Nixie, it's obviously going to be huge. He's got no trinket for this kidney shot. What is Waz going to be able to do? He gets the Shadow Step sap on Asgraf. Now Nixie, he's in so much trouble. He's got the evasion, he's got the Cloak of Shadows. He has to trade it out. Asgraf with the Ironbark trying desperately to recover, but it's 75% dampening, Zico.
Yeah, I want to see Waz actually blind Nixie in this situation, because the healing over time effects aren't going to do too much. If Chaz gets caught up in a stun, he has to go for that play. Otherwise, I mean, at this point on Asgraf, it's not going to do anything, but he does connect the kidney shot. Here's the smoke bomb. Here's the Vendetta. That's got to be the game for sure. Waz actually gets bashed up here.
Asgraf jumps in and stalls the smoke bomb for a few seconds. Evasion from both rogues. They can't really hit each other. The concentrated flames and damage over time effects are all that is doing work. Nixie Shadow steps in to try and get an extra hit. This could go down to a 1 versus 1 at this point. Waz gets the kill first, and Asgraf is not going to try and play it out. Method Black closes it out 3-0 with a 2v3.
Yeah, very nice stuff from Waz there. It's so much min-maxing when it comes to that Rogue Druid mirror. Just the fact they killed Alec alone was completely outstanding. It was so much after they got the kill, and honestly, I didn't expect it when I was casting it. I don't think they expected it either. I feel like there should have been a way for them to survive that situation.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see the replay, but I think that there probably was a way that they could have survived being in that situation altogether. This was the first kill, so we're going to see exactly what happened. Waz blinds up Nixie, Alec in a stun. Asgarath gets counterspelled into a Cyclone here, so Alec... they're going to kill off Raikou. This was the attempt that killed off Raikou. There's the full blind sap onto full blind Ring of Frost onto Chaz, and then we're going to see exactly what happened. So Asgraf is completely tapped. Waz doesn't have blind. He connects a kidney shot onto Alec, and what does Nixie do here? Smoke bomb gets dropped by Waz, and what is Nixie doing? He doesn't have too much to work with, and there is, I think Waz just actually runs him down here. Chaz as well. I feel like
maybe it was hard, yeah.
I feel like it wasn't too much they could have done to avoid that. I mean, Asgraf was just completely tapped there. Maybe if Nixie could have connected a kidney shot there onto Waz, he could have survived for a little bit longer, but still, that was a pretty hard situation to be in, and this was that explosive ending. And the pressure being this close is because Waz got that sap out of the Cyclone earlier onto Asgarath, which he couldn't drink it because then he would just sit a full blind sap later. So nice play to kind of recover there for Method Black, and Nixie and Waz both going head to head here, but Waz has the Vendetta. They both had the evasion active at the same time, but that little bit of extra damage from the Vendetta allowed Waz to come out ahead there. So nice plays by both these teams, and that's, I mean, these are the two most evenly matched teams in Europe, so it makes sense to have it go down to a 2v2.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a bit of fun. It's been a while since we've seen a mirrored 2 versus 2 like that. Waz getting the opportunity to style a little bit on broadcast here. Of course, he was denied the opportunity to get his rematch against Peekaboo yesterday, given Peekaboo won't be going through to the live event, so Peekaboo will still hold that one from last year. Waz, though, is going to look to go up against some of the top North American rogues. You know, he's going to be playing against Roasties, he's going to be playing against Snuts. Here, getting a little bit of airtime, defeating Nixie in the 1 versus 1.